Listen to the dulcet tones of commentator Phil Wright.
Tarleton International Raceway outside Krugersdorp and the scene of the final round of Super Series 98, a homegrown stadium off-road series for cars, quads and motorcycles. The Clubman's Motorcycle Championship had been a closely fought affair, and after 5 rounds and 15 races, only 30 points separated the top 3 riders.
Well, race strategy now at this moment is to catch Clayton Duckworth. He is 9 points ahead of me, so I'd like to bring the points a little bit closer so that we can... So I can get closer to the championship and see if I can take first position.
The Clubman's class has been the best supported of all the categories in Super Series 98, with the biggest fields and some fantastic battles. It caters for weekend and non-professional riders, open to all engine sizes, and is regarded as a stepping stone for bigger things by many a competitor. This is where you learn your craft as a racer amongst a whole bunch of similarly inclined riders. Close racing is what the fans come to see, and in the first Clubman's race of the day they were not disappointed, as a heated battle for the lead developed between Malcolm Furness on his 250 Honda, another 250 Honda ridden by Bruce van der Merwe, and points leader Clayton Duckworth on his 250 Kawasaki. Adrian High, Henk Potgieter and Tyrone Cooper completed the top 6. Furness was in 4th position in the championship before this race and was determined to keep his position because this could potentially leapfrog him ahead of Leonard Hall, who was only 9 points ahead and currently out of the top 6. As has become customary in Clubman's racing, a whole series of personal battles were being fought out throughout the field. Grant Wheeler here being pressured by Paul Richardson. But all eyes were on the battle for the lead, which was fast becoming the best race of the season. Duckworth, who had changed from a 125 to a 250 bike for this race, was as determined as Furness to get the victory, as he had only 9 points to defend in the championship. The same went for van der Merwe, who had already taken 3 overall victories and a second in the last 5 races. He was trailing Duckworth purely because he'd missed the very first race of the season. The leading trio were quickly pulling out a gap over Adrian High in 4th, who in turn was pulling away from the rest of the field. This was as close a battle for the lead as anyone could wish for. The crowd was enthralled as the race unfolded before their eyes, and one thing was certain, you'd have to be very brave to predict the outcome of this battle. 4 laps into the race, it still hadn't let up, except that both van der Merwe and Duckworth had been able to get past Furness. The pair were pulling away from Furness, who was coming under increasing pressure from High. Duckworth was in a solid position, should he finish where he was, because the points difference between first and second is only 2, and he had enough in hand not to have to win the race. But tell any motorsport competitor that he doesn't have to win a race, and he'll tell you to dream on. On the final lap, and Duckworth was attacking as hard as ever, while Furness had High breathing down his neck. Into the tight left-hander before the final sweep, and the Kawasaki pulled a beautiful move to take the lead from van der Merwe. This set him up to choose his line through the final right-handed sweep before the start-finish line, and all the Honda rider could do was to settle into 2nd position. Duckworth couldn't have asked for a better start to his day, increasing his points lead over van der Merwe to 11, with 2 races to go. Furness held on to 3rd ahead of High, Potgieter and Hall, with Cooper and Jeff Kruger completing the top 8. Kawasaki and Honda shared the spoils. Just after the start of the 3rd race of the day, with van der Merwe leading Duckworth, and disaster for Furness as he took a heavy tumble. His body language said it all. Van der Merwe had had a disastrous 2nd race, finishing 10th and giving another 11 points away to Duckworth, which meant that all the Kawasaki rider had to do was to make sure that he stayed on his bike to clinch the title. Furness did rejoin the race, but decided to call it a day a little while later. Lap 3 now, and Duckworth had passed van der Merwe to take the lead. In 3rd was Tyrone Cooper on a Honda, followed by Jaco du Toit on his Kawasaki and Paul Richardson on another Kawasaki. Duckworth had clearly decided to pull out all the stops, and van der Merwe's day turned even more sour when he put it down while in 2nd. He was almost helpless as 6 riders came past before he could get going again. This effectively put paid to any hope he might still have harboured of taking the title. Fast forward 2 laps, and Grant Wheeler fell foul of an unsuccessful overtaking attempt in the three-way battle for 4th. This would drop him down to 10th at the end of the race. Clayton Duckworth was clearly on a roll, and nobody could touch him as he took his 3rd successive victory of the day. Jaco du Toit did very well to finish 2nd, while Bruce van der Merwe could only recover 2 places to eventually finish 6th. It's great to be champion.
You need good starts, especially because the start of the year I was on a 1 to 5, running with the 500s and the 250s. Now I got the 250s, so I got much better starts. I could stay up with the top oaks and the 250s down the straights, but with the 1 to 5 was much slower, so luckily I got the 250.
So, a great finale to the championship for Duckworth as he took it by 28 points from Van der Merwe. Honda riders did well to take 6 of the top 8 places. In the Pro Quad category, Brandon Martin had a 12-point lead over Christo van der Merwe, but